Welcome to the Shootin' the Q podcast presented by Heath Riles Barbecue with tips, tricks, and an inside look at some of the top pitmasters in the game. Now here's your host, Heath Riles.
Welcome back to Shootin' the Q. Today, we're joined by Mr. Mike McCloud. How are you doing today, Mike?
Heath, if I was any better, I'd be twins, buddy. How are you?
Man, just staying busier than I want to be, but I guess that's blessed in today's world, right?
You know, I always used to think when I got into my 20th year and then when I got into my 30th year or whatever it was of working that it would get easier and I would have less to do. But thanks to technology and the crazy things that I find myself saying yes to, it just gets busier and busier. So I've given up on having days off. Every day is on now.
That's about like me. I try to relax some on Sundays, but it don't always work out like that, trying to prepare for a Monday.
Well, then you're rooting for a football team or making barbecue for a team. So I'm not sure that day's off either.
That's right. Well, look, for everyone that does not know you, why don't you tell everybody kind of about yourself and kind of what you do in the food world?
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go back to 2008, about the time when you and I started being aware of each other. I had the opportunity to become the agency of record for the Kansas City Barbecue Society. A good friend of mine and everyone I know, Tony Stone, was serving on the board, became one of the first presidents, if not the first president after Gary Wells passed. And he basically said, we're about to turn 20 and we want to get serious about this barbecue stuff. And so he knew some of my marketing work and he invited me to attend an RFP, and we went against several big agencies in big cities, and somehow we won that contract with KCBS. And that began my baptism by fire in the whole barbecue arena and culinary competitions. And from there, it just sprouted and took hold. And like smoke in your clothes, I just couldn't get it out of my system. And we turned that into a lot of opportunities in the barbecue arena. And then we ultimately created the Sam's Club Barbecue Tour, which was kind of the shot heard around the world in the barbecue arena. And then we created what I'm working on mostly now, which is the World Food Championships. We decided if you can have that much fun in barbecue, we believe you could do it with dessert and seafood and sandwich and vegetarian and all these other categories. So we created the first multi-genre tournament of champions, launched that in 2012 with Caesars. And ever since then, we've just been hanging on to the tail of the tiger, trying to figure out where it's going and trying to put up a few guardrails here and there and have a lot of fun in the process.
That's I know I've been a part of WFC, and well, going back, I was a part of Sam's Club, and I can remember the days of getting on the website and it crashing, trying to get logged in, everybody trying to get a certain contest in that region or area, right? Have waterfall down, and I was fortunate enough to, win my way to the championship and all that. And I don't know if you remember, but do you remember me having 2 180s out of the gate at the championship?
Oh, I think so. Yeah. There was a lot of firsts that year. Speaking of crashing, for everyone to have context, that was the first time anyone, to my knowledge, was trying to register 600 teams into 25 contests, all at the sound of a beep, almost like Southwest, ding. It was time to get on board. We did that, and my goodness, it was more traffic and more processing power for computers and for ACH backups than we had envisioned. And sure enough, for a couple of years there, we struggled during the registration period. Always got it fixed. Always got people kind of slotted where they wanted to go. And I think by the third year, we were humming along pretty good. But man, what a great time that was, seeing you guys do your thing and win locally and then win regionally and then go to the headquarters in Bentonville, which has become kind of the pilgrimage for me now, every year to see them and work with them and still try to pull barbecue into their arena and them into our arena. So it was great times. I look fondly upon it.
Yeah, I tell that story to a lot of people. I had a 180 chicken and a 180 rib out of the gate, and in pork, we took a 42nd in pork out of 50 teams. And if we would have had a 38th, we would have won another $54,000 that day. So
It
that was a little, and I finished up 5th overall. That was
yeah.
I didn't even go all the way back home that day. I remember, but I actually passed there last week, that parking lot. I was over in Bentonville doing a deal for a fundraiser, and passed that parking lot, and it really made me think about that. So it's kind of funny having you on the podcast after just being in Arkansas and all that.
That's ironic, isn't it? And as far as your 42nd, when that was the best of the best teams at any given moment, if you slipped a hair, you had a bunch of people pass you by, right? I mean, it was you had to be
It's just a table of death
on
kind of
point.
day. That table was
Yeah,
a bad table, and
yeah,
I mean, we all laugh about it, but it was the lowest scoring table of the day, and it wasn't my day. I tell
yeah.
everybody that you can't win them all. Believe me, I
Well,
tried. Hell, it's
well,
you can't win
I know you've defeated that demon many times since then. You've had many great days, so
many.
uh, I'm not going to cry too many crocodile tears for you.
No, no, no. What was the inspiration behind kind of world food? Because when you first started, was it 6 categories you started with, or 8?
Seven,
7. And now
yeah.
how many categories is it total that you've
We
led up to?
we have what I call 12 plus one. We have 12 food categories, and we've got a mixology championship now. So 13 total genres of focus and competition.
Well, do you need any mixology judges? That's the
Yeah, you can be a side judge with me if you want to. Just come on up there and
that'll work.
we'll give
That'll
them a
work.
second opinion. How about that?
Yeah, well, that's all you really need anyway, is a second opinion of that.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about all that. You also own MMA Creative. You talked about the marketing firm. Kind of tell us a little bit about some of the brands you've worked with throughout the years and some of the things you've done with those brands.
We've been really blessed. We've worked with the biggest brands in the world, from Coca-Cola to Tyson, to Conagra. We've had a very fortunate run in what I'll call the culinary competition arena. Food sport is what we ended up branding it. We created the Great American Barbecue Tour for Kansas City Barbecue Society. Worked with McCormick and many other great brands on that front. We created the cook-off before kickoff for Tyson and Coca-Cola. We created the Bull Burger Battles for the Bull outdoor grilling guys. We've created Firewoman, which is now woven into the World Food Championships. And then, of course, that Sam's Club Barbecue Tour, which ran for 7 years. And I still have hopes and high dreams of bringing some of that back in some kind of iteration. Right now, we just completed the second season for the famous Dave's All-Star Barbecue Classic, which has touched about 15 cities throughout America. And the winners from that series are primarily the competition teams in our barbecue division. This year, we'll have about 50 teams there, and put them through what I think is probably the most exhaustive culinary gauntlet in barbecue. If we have time to talk about it, I'll walk you through the 3 sequences there that matter.
Yes.
And but yeah, we've been on Daytona field barbecuing, doing a competition there with Ronnie Cates and others, and we've been on Talladega. We've been doing barbecue stuff for Major League Baseball at their All-Star series. Um, we've just been very blessed and fortunate to be focused on food sport and delivering results for brands that matter. We even helped Kraft one year test two barbecue sauces throughout the country, mostly in the Southwest and Southeast and give launch to a couple brands. So we've seen just about everything you can imagine when it comes to competition barbecue, but then also experimental or consumer facing barbecue. And we try to learn from all those experiences and weave that now into platform extensions with the World Food Championships. One item that you might be interested in, we're about to kick off Smoketober with Sam's Club, and we're going to use about 30 to 40 barbecue teams with some of our food champs who will be sampling on the inside of Sam's Club, but barbecue teams are cooking on the outside. It's that kind of hybrid model and retail consumer competition matrix that we have really spent a lot of time trying to perfect and make sure that we can deliver results and hit ROI metrics that matter and keep big companies like Sam's Club and Walmart investing, but also keep barbecue teams motivated and give them not only prize money for good performances, but basically bonus money just for participating. So I think we're the only company that's ever done so much for so many in one arena, and keep asking the question, what's next? What else can we do, and what have we learned that we can apply to something going forward?
Well, you've also been part of giving back to a lot of programs during the World Food Championship, right? Because I know a lot of years when I competed, any of the food that was left over and went to local food banks and different charities around. Y'all have always done a great job at pairing and finding outreach in the communities where you were in to hold those types of events.
Yeah, we've tried to clear out our pantry. We always have a fantastic pantry. We've tried to clear it out in a smart, strategic way. We've helped food banks locally. We're also doing that now in Indianapolis, where we're paired up with some of the most respectable charities and food banks you could ever work with. But we've helped Operation Barbecue Relief. We've helped veteran organizations. We're constantly trying to be good to the community and give back where we can. Um, it's ironic. I my mother is probably the only hoarder in my life, and she comes to the World Food Championships with the sole purpose of taking everything back to her house that she can. And I have to sometimes separate her from all the stuff that we're going to donate to charity.
I
Um,
think our moms would probably get along well then, Mike.
yeah,
I
yeah,
do.
yeah. Yeah, probably that influence, seeing all that stuff in our home growing up, is probably why I'm like, please, let's give this stuff away. Let's find someone who deserves this more than we do.
No doubt. For somebody that wants to get involved with, learning how to cook the World Food Championship in different categories, what advice can you give them, or what information, where would you want them to go to kind of learn about that? Because this not only just involves barbecue anymore. You're talking about chefs and novice and home cooks, kind of anybody.
Well, the first thing I really encourage competitors or wannabe competitors at WFC to do is to come see it. There's nothing quite like what we do. We build the world's largest, it used to be the world's largest outdoor kitchen arena, and now we've taken it indoors. We got over a couple of humps on how to do that, but we've got 40 kitchenettes that are all fired up and running, and competitors doing their thing at any given time. And then we stagger our category opening rounds, and then we go into 2 days of final rounds that we stagger. But seeing it up close and perfect, or up close and personal, allows you to get a little bit more perfect in how you approach your game plan to not only cook great barbecue, but just cook great food. The whole premise behind WFC was to identify and then celebrate culinary champions. And we didn't want to, even though we had a huge barbecue upbringing, we didn't want to discriminate against other genres of food, be it pasta, bacon, dessert, seafood, etc. We felt like there were a lot of cottage industries out there, and they were all kind of siloed. That if we were to pull everyone together and say, okay, as long as you win somewhere locally, and you won fair and square, It was a legitimate sanctioning process or judging process, whether it's KCBS, MBN, NEBS, whatever it is. We didn't care. As long as you won fair and square, come join us. Punch your golden ticket to WFC. Meet like-minded individuals who are passionate about food, practice food, and ultimately what we call food champs, because they're just as athletic mentally as you are on the field of football or soccer or baseball. And we wanted to build a crescendo moment for the food season. You know, you've got these great contests out there, whether it's Houston Livestock, whether it's in Memphis in May, Jack Daniels, Kansas City Royal. You know, everyone is kind of claiming, I'm the world champion here, I'm the world champion there. At first we thought, well, let's just settle the score. You know, let's bring all those champions together and figure out who really is the best. It's kind of taken on a little bit different iteration, a little bit different life than that. But we've decided to invest a lot of money and a lot of effort. I think we've given out or awarded almost $4 million now through culinary competitions. And I just think it happens to be a great community that when they get together, no matter what genre, what background, what cooking skills you have, whether you're a professionally trained chef or you're a self-taught barbecue guy, that it's great to get those like-minded individuals together. And now, Heath, it really feels like a high school reunion. When we get together, we have a welcome reception and about 1,500 people getting together and hugging and slapping each other on the back. And if you're Robert Smith, trying to break other people's backs, you know, but it's just a lot of fun. And then we settle into business and we try to find out who's the best of the best. And I've never seen anything like it. You know, I used to think I was a Dallas Cowboy fan long time ago, and
Well, you're a Tennessee fan too, right?
you know, when they have a good season. Right now, it's really hard. It's really hard. But I'm a Tennessee Volunteer fan no matter what. I'm a VFL. But I'll tell you this: when Roger Staubach and what's his name, Terry Bradshaw, when they would go head to head and be mad and really try to hurt each other, the teams, and then at the end of the game, I'd see them shake hands and put their arms around each other. I was like, what is that? I mean, why are they doing that? They're enemies, right? Well, to fast forward into barbecue and understand the passion, drive, and the compassion in this industry, that I finally got it. You know, champions are champions, and they respect one another, and they help one another. And we've seen that all throughout the years of WFC, where they all get together and hug it out in the beginning, and then they go head to head and try to beat each other, and then at the end they hug it out again and congratulate the winners. I just love that about our sport.
It is. It's pretty awesome. I mean, I tell everybody 5 minutes before turn in, I'm not your friend anymore. I'll be back in a minute, you know.
Yeah, right.
And you know, there's nothing wrong with some good, clean trash talk and having fun
No.
with your peers, as long as it's fun and entertaining. And I think we both probably know some people that take it a little too serious.
Yeah.
But having fun while you're doing something like this, it really, it's hard to describe. It's a great way of making friends for life. I'll say that in the food sport.
Yep.
And, you know, talking about all the categories you have, ranging from burgers to live fire to now mixology, how do you ensure diversity while maintaining integrity, I guess, in between judging those categories with your judges?
That's a great question. It might be worthy of walking you through the sequencing of our judging first. In a previous question, you asked, you know, what would I advise people to do? And I said, come to the event, see it up close and personal. But secondly, I would encourage people to take judging courses to understand really what a judge's thoughts are and what their perspective is. Get that side of the coin experience, and then I think it'll make you a better competitor too. Our platform, Heath, is so unique in that we kind of flipped the script on judging. We decided that instead of barbecue teams or other genre teams guessing at what's going to make a judge happy, and basically trying to find a flavor profile that you think is going to be well received by the most judges, and even if it's a table of death, that it's going to be scored well. We decided that we could share what you're trying to achieve with the judges. Just like going to a restaurant and picking out food, you don't just say to a restaurant waitress or waiter, "Hey, just bring me some barbecue." You don't do that when you go in there. You look at a menu, you look at descriptions of a dish, and you select what you want, and all of a sudden you have a contract between what you're expecting and what the restaurant delivers, right? So we decided that was important, and we brought in the execution element into the World Food Championships EAT methodology to hopefully deliver on that aspect. So now let's say you've been experimenting with cranberries and honey, and you want to put that into competition. Well, if you go to a typical sanctioning body that's judging ribs, and you try to experiment with that, you're going to probably end up DAL, right? Because that's not what you didn't tell the judges what you're making. All of a sudden, they taste cranberries and honey. They're like, "What is this? What's he thinking?" Of course, they don't know who you are, right? They're blind judging this. Well, we flipped that script, and we said we can tell the judges through a digital system if Heath has given us his title and given us a description of his ribs, we can we can relay that to the judges, and then it's the job of the judges to basically say, "Yep, he nailed it. I can taste the cranberries, I can taste the honey, and I've got perfectly smoked ribs. So great job, Heath. I'm going to give you a 10 on execution." That's where we started. We started with the notion that if someone wants to give you a flavor profile that they really like and they're really good at, we should be able to judge them appropriately and tell them if they achieved it. So that's layer one. We do blind judging, but our teams are able to say, "Here's what I'm making for you: raspberry chipotle ribs." And our judges are trained to understand the significance of that title, and then judge accordingly. So that's layer one. Layer two of our judging process is we have master judges who are walking around our arena, and they're looking at your technique, they're looking at your process, they're looking at your I'm running into some memory problems here on my device. I hope that doesn't affect us. But they look at the mise en place, they look at everything, and they move people forward into the finals based on that. And then lastly, we have an open panel. The 7 finalists that come out of our categories go in front of a panel of 5 experts: Tuffy Stone, Harry Sue, Famous Dave in barbecue arena. They've got to basically present and defend their dish in front of those experts. So that's the 3 layers of a barbecue journey at WFC, and we think it's the culinary gauntlet of all events.
That is pretty cool. Well, in 2023, you've seen a lot of growth, from over the years. Looking at your stats here, you had 25% growth in your competitor series, 25% growth in competing talent, over 25% growth in international participation. And you had over almost 300 teams competing from 40 different states, which is pretty cool. So are y'all holding any international contests now, or just they coming over here to cook?
We are aligned now with more international contests than we've ever been. As you may know, I partnered up with IMG in 2023, and they have tentacles in the sports world like nobody else. Everything from tennis to golf to food verticals, and so we've leaned into that relationship, and they've opened up doors for us like nobody else, and we are trying to take this next level. So the 2024 event is going to be even more impressive than the 2023 event.
That's pretty cool. So how many years now has World Food been going on?
This will be our 12th main event.
12th main event. So out of those 12 main events, what category have you seen win the most?
Chef. I think chef categories won a couple of times, but the cool thing is it's really been all over the place. Um, we have home cooks who've won. We've had barbecue teams who've won. We've had professional chefs who've won. And that gets back to our judging process, in my opinion. Once they go to the final table, they have experts judging their dishes at final table. And we flip the script again and we make them do local cooking challenges at the final table to try to win that $150,000 bonus prize. So no one has dominated, but I think the chef category has won 2 out of 11. And we've never had a champion repeat. We've had champions come back and make it to the final table, but they've never repeated as the ultimate champion.
You've had barbecue win it twice too, I think, right?
Once. Gosh, the name just escaped me. The Hills, I think.
Yeah, the Hills.
Lauren Hill won it in 2015. He won the barbecue championship and won the overall final table championship.
Yeah, he beat us out. That was at Orange Beach, right?
No, that was in Kissimmee, Florida.
Yeah, that's right. Kissimmee, Florida.
That was
I was in Kissimmee too. That's right.
That was our one and done in Florida. It was the most humid week on the planet in Florida history, and it was tough. The poor dessert people had the roughest time, and they couldn't get anything to rise that year. It was crazy.
It was. I always liked Orange Beach too. I thought that was great, and Las Vegas was great too.
Loved Las Vegas. The weather was perfect. The excitement was off the charts.
It was.
One day I'd love for us to get back to Las Vegas. It was a lot of fun. But right now we're in Indianapolis. We love the community of Indianapolis. Their business community, civic community, and sports community are embracing us like nobody's business, and it's important that we have that kind of support.
Well, I know that they've done a lot to that big fairgrounds up there because I've passed there several times, and it's a huge, huge place. And tell us about these new categories with the juniors, the tech, the military as well. And I see mixology here you talked about. So have you kind of got like some military contestants now too on one end?
Yeah, we partnered with MZHH, Mission Zero 100 Hours, to do a battle of the branches. And we're doing it on Veterans Day, right? Our event now has opening rounds on Saturday and Sunday of that weekend, and then Monday, Tuesday are the final rounds. But Monday's Veterans Day. So we're doing a battle of the branches that day. We believe it's going to be awesome. We're really excited about it. On the front end of the tournament, kind of our warm-up day, we do a WFC Junior. We have a Biscuits and Championship. Anybody out there who likes biscuits better come see us. And then we also have a last chance qualifier. So even someone like you who hasn't tried to qualify, if you want to throw your hat in the ring, you can jump right into the last chance qualifier and earn one of the open spots. We always have a few open spots because of attrition. People will sign up for WFC in February, March, and then have an emergency or job change or something, life change going on by November. So we try to fill those attrition spots with a last chance qualifier. The whole point of all that stuff, that and Firewoman, and some of the live fire experience that we're doing with Al Fragoni, which is going to be amazing, is just to kind of round out our circle. We really feel like we've honed in on great processes, whether it's judging, turn-in, operations, et cetera, with our primary categories. And now we're just trying to round out the experience, make sure we have a fun experience for competitors to do ancillaries and more competitions, but also for consumers so that they can come to our event, actually find some great barbecue and eat it, and not walk away thinking, I didn't get to enjoy that. We want everyone to enjoy it.
So the whole Battle of the Branches thing, can you tell me a little bit more kind of about that? I'm intrigued by that.
So we'll have 2 or 3 teams per branch formulated from veterans. And then we're going to use a coaching methodology of existing contestants who hopefully have a military history and veteran background. But you don't have to. But our professional competitors are going to coach these veterans through this battle. There's going to be an opening round where those 2 or 3 teams from each branch are narrowed down to 1, and then we're going to go head to head with each one of the 5 branches at the event, and we're going to have a panel discussion and a presentation, so you'll get to see the whole thing, soup to nuts, and it's going to benefit veterans. It's going to benefit MZHH, 501c3, and it's going to honor our military heroes who are veterans and active military.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Are there any other big changes happening for 2024?
Well, we have, I think, the most robust design we ever put together. And as a part of that, our judging arena, while it's going to be blind in the opening round for the judges, they won't know who's turning in when, and I can't really demonstrate for you how that we're making sure of that. But when you come into this $70 million Ag Pavilion Center, you're going to see a beautiful spread. You're going to see our main stage, you're going to see the kitchen arena, and then you're going to see our judging arena. We're bringing it out, Heath. We're making it visible. There's a lot of people that wonder what happens in the judging arena. Are they really taking it serious? Are they really applying good techniques and processes? We're going to dispel all the rumors that exist in competition, and we're going to show it off. We're very proud of it. We've got ACF master judges involved to oversee our table captain process. We got certified EAT judges who are going to be there and listen and take note and judge properly. And on three sides of the judges' room, it will be totally transparent. And I don't know of too many other barbecue competition areas. Probably Jack Daniel's might be the closest, where you can see what's going on. You can walk right up to it, and we're going to make sure that that's front and center so that people know the third leg of the stool is a solid portion of that stool, and you can understand the entire process.
Well, that was one of the biggest things for me. I always loved it at Florida and at Orange Beach, especially because the weather wasn't so humid at that time of year. Having that outdoor kitchen out there with all the stoves and everything set up under this big tent and grills and all that and prep tables and seeing people rush in and get set up and then doing their dish, and you getting to stand on the outside of a fence 10 foot from them, watching them, and you can talk to them. I mean, it was pretty cool to interact with some of the chefs and some of the different cooks that we know and some of the different friends. And it was really cool to see how the pantry was set up and laid out. And of course I've cooked in them some too. So it's y'all have come a long way over the course of 12 years. Let me say that.
Listen, we went into it very brave in our first year and kind of knowing what we were doing, but there was just so much we didn't know. And now I think our processes and our overall environment and our design is as good as it's ever been. And to your point of being able to see the cooking up close and personal, we still are integrating that. We're going to be introducing teams from the main stage with speakers and AV support like never before. They'll walk out just like a NASCAR driver does prior to going to his car. And we're going to make them rock stars. And we're also going to celebrate some of our past champions in our Taste of WFC. You can literally buy a ticket now and taste some of the dishes that have won categories before. They're going to be smaller portions, 2-4 ounce samples. But we've decided that it's time now to show consumers the great food that comes out of this industry of great passion. So that's another unique element that we're weaving into the process this year as well.
Well, that's pretty cool. Well, I do have one more question. A lot of the rounds are pretty, I would say, self-explanatory. But on barbecue, you have chicken, ribs, and brisket on day one. And barbecue is a little bit different. So tell me how barbecue has 3 kind of meats versus kind of everything else. Tell me how that weighs in.
Well, it's barbecue teams, I think, have the toughest journey through WFC, but it's because of where they came from, right? When you go to any qualifier, you're having to cook 3 or 4 meats. Now we put prize money into those categories to incentivize them, which other categories don't have. They just have the overall prize money. Barbecue has prize money every step of the way, and then the bonus money. But day one, you have to be one of the top 20 teams out of 50 that score, your aggregate score has to be strong enough to be in the top 20 out of brisket, ribs, and chicken. The next day, those 20 are going to go through a sequential turn-in process. They'll have a 10-minute window for each team. It's going to take about 3 hours to get through it. And they get to turn in what we call a wild card. And this is because of our famous Dave's relationship. They love seeing barbecue in a creative presentation. So we have wild card. You can cook anything you want to, any protein you want. You just got to make sure it's a featured situation. You got to be able to explain it to the judges, and you'll present it to the judges, and you'll answer questions from the judges. So from those 20, 7 teams move on to the final, and then you'll have to cook Cornish hens from Tyson in the final and do the same thing with a final panel of 5 experts, Harry Sue, Tuffy Stone, famous Dave himself, and explain what you've done with that Cornish hen and defend it as the best dish in those 7 finalists. So it's 3 days of competing. And as if that's not enough, we have some ancillaries on that 3rd day for the teams that don't make the final 7. They'll be able to compete and have fun and still hang around and make some bonus money by being there.
Wow. Well, that's pretty neat. Really is. And, going down with all that, do you kind of have a set of what is judged first in the final round? The barbecue guys, I'm assuming, get a little extra time still in the final round compared to everybody else.
Actually, that's why we're working with Cornish hens. They actually get pulled down to 1.5 hours, just like everybody else. And based on when they compete is based on when they open. The opening round. So if dessert is the very first dish on a Saturday, they'll be the first final on Monday.
Gotcha.
They'll get Sunday off, but then they have to be right back in the arena first thing on finals day. So we follow a sequential process through the tournament and try to give everybody a day off. Barbecue doesn't get a day off. I mean, they're warriors, man. They got to deliver 3 days in a row.
Well, that's the way it used to be. It was rough some days. Well, it sounds like to me y'all have done a fantastic job growing the WFC and MMA Creative just to do as many work with as many companies as you have and grow the things like you have. And it seems like to me now going into the food sport with 12 different category turn-ins, that's pretty cool. I would say the final round is probably really unique nowadays versus what it used to be.
It really is. Final round now is that it uses the TV panel process, right? So we have blind judging, we have master judges, and then we have a panel of judges. We're the only event that I know that uses all 3 of those metrics. So when whoever hoists that final trophy as a champion in barbecue, they've earned it. And that's what we want to happen at the World Food Championships. We don't want this to be a cakewalk. We want this to be, we want our cooks to be thoroughly vetted and earn their way to a $150,000 bonus round that we call final table. So we'd love to have you there. We'd love to see you there. Heck, if you don't want to compete, we might use you as a judge if you want to come up.
Well, we may can talk about it. I'll look at the date and all that kind of stuff at the dates again. My calendar's pretty wild, but we might can make something work.
It's Tuesday, November 12th for you. So see if you can clear the calendar.
Is that election day?
No, it's a week after.
Week after.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about as well from the election.
Well, Lord knows it's enough of it on TV for everybody. I think everybody's sick of it. I just wish Dallas would come on again or something. Give me something.
No joke.
Give me something different. I don't need to watch any of that mess. Well, Mike, before we jump off of here, I do have to ask you one more question.
Sure.
Out of all the years, 12 years of judging WFC, or not really judging, being over it, what is the 1 to 2 to 3 dishes that stood out in your mind over the test of time?
The one that stands out probably the most to me is carrot cake, created by Dave Elliott, a barbecue guy
Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas. He wasn't even supposed to be he was second in dessert. But Nancy Judd, who won, was Mormon, and she was not going to compete on Sunday. So Dave got to come into her position, and he made his mother's carrot cake. His father had died 1 or 2 days later or earlier, and he was just cooking on adrenaline and trying to get through the finish line. And he put a carrot cake in play that was just the most amazing carrot cake I'd ever tasted. And Simon Majumdar, who was one of our celebrity judges at the time, he said the same thing. It was the best carrot cake he had ever put in his mouth. Dave Elliott, a barbecue guy from, I think, Olathe, Kansas, walked away with $50,000 because of his carrot cake. And to this day, it stands out like no other to me.
I didn't get a piece of it, but I did see it. And I was watching that live on the side there. I will say that was I don't know. Las Vegas to me was pretty cool downtown on Fremont Street when you done it there. I'll never forget that. And I tell everybody, you don't need to go to Vegas for 7 days.
No,
it's kind of like the hangover. I think we were there 8 days one time. And I even have to say this before we go. When we first got there, we were with some people, and I watched one guy lose like $35K before we even got checked in the room.
Oh my goodness!
And that was
they don't build those skyscrapers on cashing you out, right?
No, they sure don't. I mean, but it was a really good time, and to have people like Donnie Bray and so many different ones that was there. You know, I think the majority of all of us back then probably don't cook anymore. There's probably not but 1 or 2 left anymore cooking from back then. But those were definitely the glory days, and I'm sure you could get an old school cast up to go back to
That'd
Vegas.
be fun. We may have to do that just for you know what, and giggles.
No doubt. Well, tell everybody where they can connect with you at, Mike, and where they can find more information about World Food Championship, and if they want to get involved, and we go from there.
Well, you can connect with me on McCloud in the Cloud at Instagram. You can connect with World Food Championships on all the platforms, just through the World Food Championships moniker. We'd love to see you in Indianapolis in November. But if not, pay attention, stay tuned. We got a lot of exciting things coming up.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your wealth of knowledge. And again, thank you for everything you've done for the food sport in general. It's been great working with you all these years and seeing you grow and achieve so many things over the course of the past 12 years. And it's unbelievable y'all have a mixology category now. I just think that's pretty cool.
Just pay attention. The next 3 to 5 years are going to get real entertaining. So, Heath, great to spend time with you.
Thank you,
Stay
my
safe
friend.
out there.
We'll see you next time.
If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels. Leave us a review if you've enjoyed the show. And until next time, keep shooting the cube.